Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going straight into some pretty intense accounts. Stories about trespassing where things went way beyond just breaking the rules. We're talking genuine fear, real danger. Yeah, we've gathered these firsthand narratives, people who went into places they shouldn't have, abandoned buildings, private land, even old quarries, and they ran into things that were, well, deeply unsettling. Sometimes inexplicable, sometimes actively hostile.
Exactly. And our goal here isn't just to tell spooky stories. We're looking at what specific details push these encounters over the edge. When does curiosity or, a bit of mischief turn into real horror? We want to unpack the psychology, the common threads when boundaries are broken.
Okay, let's get into it then. We'll start with this one account about a pretty reclusive urban explorer, someone who liked exploring solo, boots, jeans, using Google Earth to find these forgotten spots. So they find this old, dilapidated church way out in the woods in a clearing. But even before stepping inside, something feels off.
And it starts with a sound, right?
Yeah, it does. Right out front, there's this old well, unsealed, just a black hole, basically. And leaning over it, they hear this faint, but really regular clicking noise. Like one click, pause. Another click, every 2 seconds.
And they described it specifically, not like water dripping.
No, exactly. They said it sounded like a stick tapping on stone. Very distinct.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Because it's not random. That rhythmic, almost mechanical quality, it's way more disturbing than just, decay sounds. It implies something is still operating there, some kind of process.
Yeah, and that sound kind of hangs in the air as they decide to go in. Inside the church, it's what you'd expect, mostly. Dusty. Light coming through shattered stained glass. They find a narrow hallway leading to basement stairs. And right before heading down, the narrator mentions feeling that classic, slight chill.
That little prickle of intuition crossing a threshold, not just physically.
And bam! Almost immediately, that feeling is justified. They get maybe 7 steps down, and a rotten stair just collapses, sends them tumbling down into junk at the bottom, hurts their tailbone pretty bad.
Ouch. Physical danger right off the bat.
Yeah, but the pain kind of takes a back seat because as they're getting their flashlight back on, they hear a voice.
Oh.
Yeah, high-pitched, like maybe a woman or a kid. And it just says, hello?
Just hello.
Just hello. And then right after, it dissolves into this confused, garbled, the narrator called it gibberish, like a broken recording or something totally unintelligible.
Wow. That combination. A clear word, then nonsense. That's psychologically really jarring.
Right.
It suggests an attempt at communication that fails, making it feel, not quite human or broken.
Totally. And they realize the sound, the gibberish, it's coming from a tunnel dug into the basement wall. And the narrator notes it looked like it was dug by hand.
By hand. Into stone.
Yeah. And here's the picker. As they step closer to this hand-dug tunnel, the gibberish gets louder. And that same rhythmic 2-second clicking sound they heard up by the well, it starts coming from the tunnel too. Louder now.
So the sounds are connected. The surface and the deep underground.
Exactly. That connection, hearing both sounds together from that dark tunnel. They didn't wait around. They scrambled out of there as fast as they could.
And the silence when they got back outside just amplifies the weirdness, doesn't it?
Oh.
It highlights how unnatural the sounds inside were. That whole experience, the rhythmic clicking, the fall, the voice, the tunnel. It's a sustained, escalating dread.
Definitely. Okay, so let's shift from that kind of auditory, almost supernatural dread to something.
Well, it's something that mixes the very real threat of crime with just absolute visual weirdness. This next one involves a group of friends, teenagers, I think. They trespassed onto this huge piece of farmland in Texas. Apparently, they'd been chased off the day before and came back kind of looking for minor trouble, petty revenge.
So they weren't expecting anything too serious.
Right, but what they found was not a cranky farmer. They found a rundown house, an RV, and this huge collection of really expensive cars.
Yeah.
Porsches, Bentleys, Ferraris, even Ford Raptors. Like trophy cars. Okay, alarm bells should be ringing loud at that point.
Yeah.
That screams criminal activity. Car theft ring, chop shop, something serious.
Absolutely. Their whole frame of reference shifts, right? This isn't teenage mischief anymore. They're potentially witnesses to something major.
And the risk just keeps escalating from there, I bet.
It does. They check out the camper, find fresh food, bedding, signs someone's living there or at least using it very recently. Then near a shed, they get this really foul, horrible smell. They try to joke it off at first, like maybe a dead animal, but then they move towards the back of the property near the main house. They find this massive old 50-foot camper covered in vines, and about 15 feet into the bushes nearby, a cooler.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And when they get near the cooler, the smell hits them again, but way stronger. They described it as the smell of death and rot. That's when the joking stopped. They backed off, deciding to, quote, assume the worst.
Smart move. At that point, you don't poke around anymore. You leave.
They were trying to. One friend climbed up on a rock to keep watch while they figured out how to get out unnoticed. But then he just freezes, stares at something. The narrator looks over to see what's got him so spooked. And there's a man sitting calmly at a table near the house. There's a black cat with him. But the man, his face.
What about his face?
The description is just chilling. Pure white, no hair, no eyes, no mouth, no nose, no features at all. Just blank white skin where a face should be.
Wait, like Slender Man kind of thing. Featureless.
Exactly. Completely featureless, which makes absolutely no sense, right? If you're running a high-end car theft ring, why have something that looks like it stepped out of a horror movie sitting out in the open? It's the opposite of discreet.
It's profoundly jarring. It fuses this very real, grounded fear of stumbling onto organized crime with something utterly impossible, almost mythological. It's like psychological warfare almost. Your brain just wouldn't know how to process that.
Total cognitive dissonance. And while they're frozen, trying to comprehend this, there's a woman with the featureless man. She makes direct eye contact with them, and immediately she just starts running. Not towards them, but towards their escape route, trying to cut them off.
Oh, terrifying. So the threat becomes active pursuit.
Yes, they bolted, ran for their lives back through the woods, this long hike out. And the whole time, they hear these noises behind them, described as stomping feet, galloping, and screams, just pursuing them through the trees.
That combination. The criminal element, the featureless man, the active pursuit with those sounds, that's multi-layered terror.
Yes.
Physical danger, criminal exposure, and just profound psychological horror.
Yeah, truly nightmarish. Okay, so our third account. This one shifts back towards purely physical threat, but in a place where the danger was, frankly, advertised. We're talking about an unauthorized quarry visit in Texas. And the signs were not subtle. Apparently, they explicitly said, trespassers will be shot on sight.
And in some places, especially concerning property defense laws, that's not just an idle threat. People need to understand that, particularly with something valuable like a quarry.
Right. So the first time, the narrator and a couple of friends are there, cliff jumping. This woman rolls up in a black Hummer, and the first thing she does is get on her phone and say, really clearly, John, get the gun.
Whoa. Direct and immediate escalation.
Totally chilling. They managed to talk their way out of it, basically pleaded ignorance, and she let them go, but told them the cops were on the way. A clear warning.
You'd think that would be enough, right?
You would think. But months later, they go back. This time with a bigger group, 5 of them. They try to be stealthier, parking way off at a church. And get this, on the dirt road leading towards the quarry, some stranger, seemed friendly enough, actually warns them. Tells them specifically to watch out for a black Hummer.
So even locals know this is a dangerous spot. That warning validates the threat completely. It's not just paranoia.
Exactly. So they get to the quarry, try to stay hidden near the exit. Then a silver van, not the Hummer, pulls up. They kind of duck down, hoping it'll just leave. Then they hear it. 2 loud gunshots.
Oh, man.
Followed almost immediately by maybe 8 more shots as they just turn and run for their lives. They're scrambling through brush, can't see who's shooting, just hear the cracks of the rifle going off nearby.
That's pure survival instinct kicking in. The theoretical danger becomes incredibly real, incredibly fast. Hearing bullets meant for you.
Yeah, he said they ran like 300 yards just fueled by adrenaline, bullets potentially whizzing past. It completely shifts the experience from trespassing thrill to actual combat zone terror.
It really underscores the question.
Yeah.
When does no trespassing become a life or death warning? Here, the answer was immediate and violent. The fact they were shot at multiple times by someone they couldn't even see. It validates that initial threat from the woman in the Hummer entirely.
They eventually scrambled over the fence, and pure luck, that same stranger who warned them earlier was driving by and gave them a ride out of there. Just sheer panic and the concrete reality of having been shot at.
Incredible.
Okay, for our last story, we're swinging back to that slow burn psychological dread. This one is about a place that was already infamous locally, a long abandoned house on Lake Harlow. Rumor was a wealthy family lived there and just disappeared, vanished suddenly back in the 90s. So the raiders go in. The air inside smells like old lake water and dust. But the kitchen, it's like a time capsule. Plates stacked by the sink, a coffee cup with dried residue still in it, and a calendar on the wall open to May 1997.
Frozen in time, like they just walked out mid-morning.
Exactly. Upstairs, more weirdness. Drawers are open, mostly empty, suggesting someone packed in a hurry, but one bed is perfectly made. And then they find this. Newspaper spread out covering the floor in one area. All from the same week in July 1997.
Okay, anything significant about the papers?
Yeah. In the classified sections, certain ads were circled. Ads from private buyers looking for quiet transactions.
Okay, so that suggests maybe a planned departure, selling things off quickly, discreetly.
That's what it looks like initially. A sudden, maybe forced, but planned exit, selling assets quietly. But then, contradictions. Big ones.
Like what?
The master bedroom. The windows are boarded up, but from the inside?
From the inside? That's unusual. That's not keeping people out. That's keeping something in or sealing yourself off.
Exactly. And the closet door in that room, secured with a big rusted padlock, and the floor right in front of that locked closet is all scratched up, like something heavy was dragged in or out.
Okay, so boarded windows from the inside, a padlocked closet that doesn't fit with a quiet planned sale at all. That suggests conflict or containment. Something went wrong.
Seriously wrong. They decide to check the basement next. Big stone walls, mostly empty. They sweep their flashlights around and stop. Right in the middle of the large open basement are 5 chairs.
5 chairs.
5 mismatched chairs arranged in a perfect circle. And here's the detail that just stops you cold. Unlike everything else in the house, which is coated in decades of dust, the chairs are clean, not dusty at all. They looked like they'd been used recently.
Oh, wow. Okay. That changes everything. The house is stuck in 1997, but those chairs, they're now.
Right. That implication of recent, possibly ritualistic activity, it's chilling. And the moment they're standing there, taking in this creepy circle of chairs, a door slams shut upstairs, followed immediately by heavy footsteps walking directly towards the basement door at the top of the stairs. Then, silence for a beat. Then the sound of the basement doorknob rattling. Someone is trying to get down there with them.
Time to go now.
Absolutely. They don't even try the stairs. They find a small, broken ground-level window in the basement and scramble out as fast as they possibly can. But as they're running away, they look back at the house. And standing in the now wide-open basement doorway, they see a figure, described only as tall and still, just standing there, head tilted slightly, watching them.
Chilling. The preserved past, the recent ritualistic element, the sudden presence, and then that final silent observation. It's maximum dread. The pieces don't fit any rational explanation.
So when we look at all these stories together, what's the common thread? It feels like the real terror kicks in when the explorers stumble across not just decay or even like residual hauntings, but evidence of active, ongoing, and often sinister intent.
I agree. It's the moment you realize something isn't just abandoned, it's occupied, or it's the site of something current and dangerous.
Yeah, like the rhythmic clicking and the gibberish voice suggesting a persistent non-human presence, or the trophy cars and the featureless man pointing to active crime mixed with something deeply uncanny.
Or the very real, very immediate violence at the quarry active defense of territory. And in the lake house, that circle of clean chairs implies a pattern, a ritual maybe, that's still happening now, decades later. It's the active element that's terrifying.
It breaks the illusion of exploring a dead past. You've accidentally walked into something alive and hostile.
And perhaps the most disturbing part is the unknown nature of that hostility. The entity in the church, the featureless man, the unseen shooter, that figure in the doorway. They remain so unsettling precisely because we can't easily categorize them. They don't fit our rational models.
They operate on a different logic.
Exactly. A logic that feels alien or predatory or just fundamentally broken. And discovering that logic exists right under the surface of the world, that's the real risk you take when you trespass. We need to look behind that curtain.
We hope that this deep dive into these disturbing accounts has certainly given you plenty to think about. We would like to end by saying goodbye to our listeners. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Horror Docs.